I'd love to future cast now a little bit. Let's 3D TVs didn't really work. I guess a bunch of friends sitting around in a room with glasses on trying to watch television maybe wasn't a good value prop for everybody. But, we have the emergence of AI now, right? Artificial intelligence. And we've got Apple coming out with their cool glasses, the whole metaverse. Let's kind of take a look into the future a little bit and see the impact that AI and maybe the metaverse might have on television viewing experiences. Who would like to jump in and grab that one?
I think Doug is the biggest expert in this area. If I had to take a guess.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't lump all those things together. The metaverse and AI are different things, but the sentence that I've been, writing and saying for the past like year and a half or so is that the last decade in film and TV was really defined by the disruption of distribution, and the next decade will be defined by the disruption of content creation. So it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Historically, in the video, in the pay TV business, there were two big moats. There was a moat around content distribution, because you needed to own this really expensive underlying infrastructure. And there was a moat around content creation because it was expensive and risky. And one moat fell, and that was the distribution moat. And that's how Netflix came in. And again, I think that you can point to all of the challenges that the industry are currently facing. I don't know if it's an exaggeration to say all of them can be traced back to that disruption of distribution, the squeezing out of the excess profits, and the fact that there's now just less money to go around. But even as the cost to move the bits plummeted, the cost to make the bits went up. The cost to make a premium hour of TV doubled. The cost to make a tentpole movie doubled, right? So that one moat has remained extraordinarily intact, the moat of content creation. So the question is, what happens if you have an industry that's already reeling from the last disruption, now has another disruption around the corner? And I think the risk, I think what's misunderstood about this is that a lot of people are asking, well, is AI going to replace Hollywood? Are you going to use AI to make, the next Game of Thrones? That's not the right standard. The standard is, will AI disrupt Hollywood? And I think the answer is it will, because I think it's going to exacerbate a disruption that's already underway. Because if you look what's happening right now, Hollywood is, when I'm using Hollywood as a catch-all for, the professionally produced content, that entire professionally produced film, TV content ecosystem, it's already being disrupted from the bottom by creators, by YouTube, right? So you can see right now, you think again about that kind of low-end disruption. The way it works is someone comes in from the bottom, and the first thing they go after is the least demanding customer. So who's the least demanding customer? Kids. What's the most popular kids show in the world? CoComelon on YouTube, right? You're like, okay, well, now we're going to go up the curve. What's the next least most demanding customer? Like, okay, unscripted reality programming. The most popular unscripted show in the world is Mr. Beast on YouTube. So the question really, I think, is, does Gen AI pour gas on that fire? Does it enable creator content to continue to move up the quality curve and increasingly challenge Hollywood or professionally produced content for user time? And it doesn't mean it has to be as good. It just means that it has to compete for time. So I think that, to me, I was sitting there running investor relations in 2009 when Netflix did the Stars deal, and we used to laugh about Netflix. The only thing we were talking about Netflix was how it was threatening our DVD business, right? Because they use the arbitrage around the first sale doctrine to mail out DVDs in envelopes. And we're like, yeah, the streaming thing is a joke. And then they do the Stars deal, and they get the Sony and Disney pay one movie rights and 2,500 movies. And we're like, whoa, wait, this could be something. And we watched it happen, and we did a lot of things to try to stop it, and they all failed. And I just think we're back there again, where this is coming from the bottom. And in a lot of ways, I think the industry is less well positioned, even though they've just gone through it and they've seen it happen. I think they're in worse position now to preempt this because, for a variety of reasons. Maybe the most important is that they were disrupted when distribution changed, where the big media companies should have been somewhat agnostic to distribution. Content creation is much more core to what they do. So that's a long answer to your question, but I think that you know, Gen AI is not going to happen tomorrow, but if you look at the trajectory and you do a little pattern recognition as to what we've already seen in the past decade, I think we're setting ourselves up for it to happen again. And you know, it's for an industry that's already challenged. I think it definitely could be the death blow for some of these companies.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of maybe put a finer point on on what the disruption is going to be. So AI itself is not it's a tool for disruption, just like streaming was a tool for destruction and disruption for Netflix. But you know, streaming wasn't the thing that just disrupted. It was the habits that they formed and the fact that Netflix could get all this content for a very low price. The way, I mean, Doug described this, but I would put a name on it, which is the creator economy, to me, is the thing that's going to disrupt the gatekeeper economy, the big traditional media players. And AI is going to be a massive part of this. And Doug has written about this a lot. If a creator can make a $50 million looking film on YouTube now because Gen AI empowers them, and it's not necessarily doable today, but TikTok, like we're not that far away from it, to be honest with you. You know, the number, to go back to Bridget's point from a while ago, which is they migrated to these younger consumers migrated to these other platforms, primarily on mobile. Well, today, most video in the home is watched on connected television. And the number one channel on television is YouTube. Used more than Netflix, it's used more than ABC, it's used more. Kids is one of the largest drivers, but not exclusively kids either. There are a lot of consumers, kids and otherwise, who use YouTube on connected television every single day. And a lot of that is driven by what I call the community economy, but most people call the creator economy. And I think tools like AI will be the democratization of professionalized content that's going to compete. You know, you may not think Mr. Beast is as good as other shows on TV, but don't tell his audience that, because they do. So I think the major disruption, I think half of the value that's going to come from the media economy by the end of next decade will come from the creator economy, half. And I think that's the turning point whereby which traditional media will become broadcast to creator economies cable, or traditional television to creator economies streaming, or whatever parallel you want to draw there. But, you know, more and more artists are going to go direct to consumers in more and more different ways with different economic models. It's not just about clicks. It's also people make a lot of money from subscriptions and selling products. And I have a Substack that is a revenue generator for me. So, you know, I think the technology will empower the creator economy, which is the next big disruptor from my mind.
Thank you. Bridget, anything you'd like to add?
You guys have covered it obviously so well, but again, I just flash on things that are very much about, and these are probably two kind of unicorn examples, but the idea of the creators directly to consumers and the whole sort of TikTok, how that has come about, you know, what is a viral moment now, and how segregated that might be, you know, generationally and in every other way. But I've watched over this last, just take year for an example, and to use her, I'm going to, the whole Taylor Swift phenomenon, which I was not really a part, I was not a part of it. And I did stumble during the COVID years on her, believe it or not, NPR Tiny Desk concert. And because I was home with, you know, the whole COVID thing, I thought, wait, I could not have named a song of hers, not one. And I said, wait, was this the girl that went up against Spotify about the license fees? Was this every identification I had with her were big swings that she and her team had taken in the business world. It had nothing to do with her music. And of course, I then went down the rabbit hole in a major way. You now can call me a deep state Swiftie 100%. By the time she got to the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, I was watching her TikTok videos from consumers. Like I watched the Olympics, you know, every night. It was like on there, you know, hashtag after 11:30 p.m., you know, Eras Tour, Swiftie moment, whatever. And now one of the things when she was named Time Person of the Year, one of the things that other publications such as New York Times, et cetera, were writing about her was that was the first time she had sat down for an interview with anybody since the beginning of 2018. And of course, the summation of that observation was kind of, she doesn't need to. What is a New York Times interview going to do for Taylor Swift? Nothing.
Right.
So when you have this whole, and we saw it with the Kardashians, I mean, we've seen it,
Yeah.
and I know I'm naming women in particular who are of a certain sort of, millennial age, but my point is that, I can remember a long time ago, a VC company that had reached out to me. They were trying to start an app that was just this exact thing, and in a way it's been built on Instagram, which is why does Mark Zuckerberg get the benefit of all this? Because in a way, what then happened is all these creators, they're creators, right? And influencers created this vertical and wealth that they get off the back of Instagram when they could have maybe done it direct through an app for themselves. But I'm sure Beyonce falls in this category as well. I mean, she gets ready to drop an album. It's a surprise album. She doesn't have Universal Music Group or Republic Records or whatever, schmoozing Billboard magazine and going to Rolling Stone and saying, hey, we need to have an interview with Beyonce. She just drops a picture.
She goes right to her community and she says it's coming out.
And by the way, neither one of the two women I've mentioned even have to go on TikTok. I mean, their followers would
The Eras Tour movie, self-distributed, self-produced, self-financed, direct, complete, package from a creator economy standpoint. And the reissuing of her music, same thing. They all took the risks and they have figured out, this new paradigm that disrupts Spotify, disrupts, Live Nation, all these other places.
All of it. So that's what it makes me kind of add on to, it may be an AI bot in 10 years, but we're already seeing the direct creator economy to the customer and viewer. And Evan, I love that you brought up the film. Of course, that's the obvious one because it completely sidestepped all of the Hollywood mechanics that would have been there prior.
Great. Hey, we're up against the clock, so I wanted to thank you all for your time. It's been a great discussion. Certainly a lot of information I think hopefully will be valuable for people that are watching this. So thanks again for your help. I appreciate it very much, and I wish you all the best down the road.
Great
You
conversation.
too,
Thank you,
Bruce.
Bruce. All right. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Hey,
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.